Hey English learners! Before we dive into today's inspiring story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. It helps our community grow and lets me know you want more content like this. Turn on notifications to stay updated with new stories and English learning tips. Now, let's begin our journey with Emily Parker. The morning sun streamed through the windows of New Horizons Language School as I adjusted my nameplate on the desk. Emily Parker, English teacher. Sometimes I still caught myself smiling at those words. 20 students would soon fill this classroom, each carrying their own dreams of mastering English. They didn't know that 15 years ago I was just like them, struggling with the very basics of the language. Back then, I was a receptionist at the Metropolitan Hotel in São Paulo, Brazil. The marble lobby would sparkle under crystal chandeliers as international guests streamed in and out, their conversations floating around me in a language I barely understood. My hands would often tremble as I stood behind the polished counter, armed only with a rehearsed smile and the phrase, "I'm sorry, I don't understand." My linguistic shield against the complex world of English communication. Every morning, I'd arrive early to practice simple greetings in front of the lobby's mirrors. "Good morning," I'd whisper to my reflection. "Welcome to Metropolitan Hotel." The security guard would sometimes catch me in these private rehearsals, offering an encouraging thumbs up that made my cheeks flush with embarrassment. The hotel's international atmosphere was both a blessing and a curse. While it provided endless opportunities to practice English, it also highlighted my limitations daily. I'd watch in admiration as my colleague Marina effortlessly switched between Portuguese and English, her confidence radiating as she helped guests with their requests. Meanwhile, I clutched my little notebook of essential phrases, praying each guest would speak slowly enough for me to catch at least a few familiar words. Little did I know that this humble beginning would set me on a path that would completely transform my life. Now, as I arrange the chairs in my classroom and prepare for another day of teaching, I can't help but feel grateful for those challenging early days. They taught me something invaluable that I now share with my students. Every expert was once a beginner, and every struggle is a stepping stone to success. The clock on the wall shows 8:45 a.m. In 15 minutes, my classroom would fill with hopeful faces, each carrying their own anxieties about learning English. But I had a secret weapon, my own story of transformation, which never failed to light up their eyes with possibility. That moment of change came on a rainy Tuesday in March. The lobby was unusually busy with a tech conference in town, and I had already exhausted my limited English phrases dozens of times that morning. Then he walked in, a tall American businessman, his suit slightly damp from the rain, looking frustrated and tired. "Excuse me," he said, approaching my counter with an urgent expression. "I have an important meeting in 30 minutes, but my room's keycard isn't working. Could you help me?" His words tumbled out quickly, and I felt that familiar knot in my stomach as I struggled to piece together his meaning. "I'm sorry, I don't understand," I responded automatically, my face burning with embarrassment. The businessman sighed, pulled out his phone, and began typing, presumably looking for a translation app. That's when Marina, my colleague, was called away to help with a group check-in, leaving me alone at the front desk. The businessman tried again, speaking slower this time, gesturing to his keycard. I caught words like meeting and room, but the complete meaning remained just out of reach. Other guests were beginning to line up behind him, and I could feel their impatience growing. The clock on the wall seemed to tick louder with each passing second. In that moment, something shifted inside me. The frustration in the businessman's eyes mirrored my own daily struggle with the language barrier. I realized that my rehearsed phrase, "I'm sorry, I don't understand," wasn't just a response. It had become a wall I was hiding behind. Taking a deep breath, I decided to try something different. "Key, not work?" I ventured, pointing to the card in his hand. His face lit up with relief. Through a combination of simple words, gestures, and determination, we managed to solve his problem. When he finally hurried off to his meeting, he turned back and said something that would stay with me forever. "Thank you for trying. That's all that matters." That evening, instead of feeling defeated by another day of language struggles, I felt a spark of hope. The businessman's grateful smile had shown me something crucial. Perfect English wasn't required for meaningful communication. What mattered was the courage to step beyond my comfort zone and actually try. I opened my notebook that night, but instead of writing down more memorized phrases, I wrote a promise to myself. Today is the last day I hide behind "I don't understand." Tomorrow, I learn to understand. Armed with newfound determination, I crafted a learning strategy that fit my schedule and budget. My first investment wasn't in expensive courses or private tutors. It was in sticky notes. Yellow squares bloomed across my apartment like persistent flowers, labeling everything from door to coffee maker. Each object became a tiny English teacher, silently drilling vocabulary into my mind. My morning routine transformed into a learning laboratory. While brewing coffee, I'd practice present continuous. I am pouring water. I am adding sugar. The kitchen became my first classroom, where I'd narrate every action in broken but brave English. Sometimes I'd catch my reflection in the microwave door, mouth moving carefully around unfamiliar sounds, and smile at how far I'd already come from my "I don't understand" days. The real breakthrough came when I discovered English music. Armed with printed lyrics and determination, I turned my commute into a mobile classroom. Whitney Houston became my pronunciation teacher, her powerful voice guiding me through the complexities of American English. "I Will Always Love You" played on repeat until my fellow bus passengers could probably sing along in their sleep. But the path wasn't without its thorns. The thwar sound remained my nemesis. Think sounded like sink, and there merged awkwardly with dare. Phrasal verbs felt like a conspiracy against logic. How could give up mean quitting while give in meant surrendering? Each discovery of a new irregular verb felt like finding another hole in an already leaky boat. Yet, I persisted. My phone's language switched to English, forcing me to navigate apps and messages in my target language. I started watching Friends with Portuguese subtitles, then English subtitles, then no subtitles at all. Chandler's sarcasm became my guide to American humor, while Rachel's adventures helped me understand casual conversation patterns. The hotel lobby transformed from a place of anxiety to a testing ground. Each guest interaction became an opportunity to practice. I created a game for myself. Learn one new phrase from each conversation. "Have a nice stay" evolved into "enjoy your stay," which grew into "please let us know if you need anything else during your stay." Most importantly, I learned to embrace mistakes as stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. When a guest chuckled at my pronunciation of beach that sounded dangerously like another word, I learned to laugh too. These moments, though occasionally mortifying, became my most effective teachers. Late at night, reviewing my progress in a journal I'd started keeping in English, I realized something crucial. Learning a language wasn't about perfection. It was about progress. Every small victory, from correctly pronouncing thoroughly to understanding a joke without translation, was worth celebrating. The moment everything changed wasn't dramatic. No fireworks, no sudden epiphany, just a simple conversation that flowed naturally one morning at the hotel. A guest asked about nearby restaurants, and I found myself responding without mentally translating each word. The realization hit me mid-sentence. I was thinking in English. That breakthrough sparked a cascade of changes. Suddenly, I noticed myself dreaming in English, mumbling English phrases while grocery shopping, and even catching mistakes in movie subtitles. The language had stopped being a foreign code to decipher, and had become a natural extension of my thoughts. At work, my newfound confidence transformed my role. Guests began specifically requesting my help, appreciating my genuine attempts to solve their problems. The same businessman who had sparked my journey months ago returned to the hotel. When he approached the desk, I greeted him with a warm smile and clear English, handling his request efficiently. The look of pleasant surprise on his face mirrored my own inner satisfaction. My notebook of memorized phrases gathered dust as spontaneous conversations became the norm. During my breaks, I found myself chatting with international guests about their travels, their cultures, and their experiences in Brazil. Each conversation felt like adding another piece to a growing puzzle, expanding my understanding not just of the language, but of the world it opened up. One evening, as I helped a lost tourist with detailed directions to a local restaurant, complete with recommendations for traditional dishes to try, I caught Marina watching me with pride. "You've come so far," she said later. "Remember when you used to hide behind 'I don't understand'?" We laughed together, but her words carried the weight of truth. I had come far, farther than that terrified receptionist could have imagined possible. Let's pause my story for a moment and practice together. After all, learning English is about active participation, not just passive listening. I'll share some of the most useful situations I encountered at the hotel, and you can practice responding to them. Imagine you're at a reception desk. A guest approaches and says, "Excuse me, could you recommend a good restaurant nearby?" How would you respond? Take a moment to think about it. You might say, "Of course. What kind of food do you prefer?" Or, "Yes, there's an excellent Italian restaurant just 2 blocks away." Let's try another common scenario. A guest calls the front desk. "Hi, my air conditioning isn't working." This is a perfect opportunity to practice problem-solving vocabulary. You could respond with, "I'm sorry to hear that. I'll send someone from maintenance right away. Is it making any unusual sounds?" Here's a challenging one I often faced, giving directions. A guest asks, "How do I get to the museum from here?" You need to use specific direction vocabulary. Turn right when you leave the hotel, walk 2 blocks, then turn left at the traffic light. The museum will be on your right side. Time for some role play. Imagine these situations. 1. A guest lost their room key. 2. Someone needs to schedule a wake-up call. 3. A visitor asks about checkout time. 4. A guest requests extra towels. For each scenario, construct your response using clear, helpful English. Remember to include pleasantries. I'll be happy to help. Let me take care of that for you. Is there anything else you need? Now, let's practice some essential hotel vocabulary. Amenities: gym, pool, spa, restaurant. Room features: king-size bed, minibar, safe, room service. Services: housekeeping, maintenance, concierge, valet parking. Time expressions: check-in time, check-out time, business hours. These words became my daily companions, and they might become yours too. Practice using them in sentences. The gym is open 24/7, or housekeeping services are available until 8 p.m. Remember how I learned to handle phone calls? Let's practice proper phone etiquette. Good morning, Metropolitan Hotel. Emily speaking. How may I help you? Could you please hold for a moment while I check that information? I'll connect you to the restaurant right away. Each of these scenarios represents a real situation I encountered. By practicing them now, you're preparing yourself for similar real-world interactions. The key is to start simple and gradually build complexity in your responses. Let's end this practice session with a challenge. Try explaining your favorite local attraction to a tourist. Include opening hours, directions, and why they should visit. This exercise combines vocabulary, giving directions, and expressing opinions, skills that prove invaluable in real-world conversations. Looking back on my journey, certain strategies proved invaluable for mastering English. Let me share the most effective techniques that transformed my learning process. First, immersion is crucial, but needs structure. Don't just surround yourself with English. Interact with it purposefully. Set specific goals. Understand one new song lyric daily, learn 5 industry-specific terms, or master one phrasal verb family. Common mistakes often become learning opportunities. For example, many English learners struggle with articles, a, an, the, and prepositions, in, on, at. Instead of avoiding these challenges, create personal rules. I learned that in generally refers to enclosed spaces, on to surfaces, and at to specific points or events. Time management proves essential. 15 focused minutes daily surpass 3 hours of cramming weekly. During my hotel days, I maximized dead time, practicing while commuting, listening to podcasts while cleaning, reading English news during breakfast. Here's what consistently works. Shadow native speakers. Repeat what you hear immediately after hearing it. Record yourself speaking, then compare with native pronunciation. Write daily, even if it's just 3 sentences about your day. Create situation-specific vocabulary lists. Practice with minimal pairs, ship, sheep, bird, beard, to improve pronunciation. The biggest mistake? Perfectionism. It paralyzes progress. Native speakers make mistakes too. They just worry about them less. Focus on communication first, perfection later. Technology becomes your ally when used strategically. Language apps work best as supplements, not primary learning tools. Use them for specific skills: pronunciation practice, vocabulary review, or grammar drills. Most importantly, connect emotionally with the language. Watch movies that make you laugh, read stories that intrigue you, listen to music that moves you. When you engage emotionally, learning becomes natural rather than forced. Today, standing in my classroom at New Horizons, I see my own story reflected in my students' eyes. Each struggle, each small victory, each moment of doubt and triumph shaped not just my English skills, but my entire approach to teaching. Remember the sticky notes in my apartment? Now they cover my classroom walls, transforming into interactive learning tools. That businessman who couldn't access his room? His story becomes a lesson in perseverance that resonates with every new student facing similar challenges. The most valuable lesson I've learned is this: language learning isn't a destination. It's a continuous journey. Even now, as a teacher, I discover new expressions, learn from my students, and find joy in the endless possibilities that English opens up. To those just beginning, your journey starts now. Every word you learn, every mistake you make, every conversation you attempt builds the foundation for your success. The path might seem daunting, but remember, I once knew only, "I'm sorry, I don't understand." Take that first step. Start small, dream big, and never stop learning. The world opens up one word at a time, and your story is waiting to be told in English. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to leave a like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to our channel for more stories in English and lessons. Click the bell icon to be notified when we post new videos. Your support means a lot to us. See you next time.